Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Making Online Easy podcast, Roofing Edition. My name is Esteban Baez, and together with Frankie Soroka, today we're going to be discussing the topic on page SEO mistakes every roofing company should avoid. What is going on, Frankie?
What's going on? Glad to be here. Roofing SEO squad, roofing team. We're gonna go ahead and dominate our on-page SEO today, guys. But we're gonna start off with the mistakes. So yeah, this is definitely one to take some notes, write it down, get ready. It's gonna be a banger.
That's right. This podcast is for you if you own a roofing business and you're seeking to promote and market your business so that you can scale your business and grow it. Also, if you're stuck at four figures, this is one of the best ways for you to scale your business to five, six, or even seven figures by doing these practices. So I think we're ready, brother. Let's get right to it.
Let's dive into it. So again, today we're gonna get into the on-page SEO mistakes that every roofing company should avoid. Also make sure that you're joining our group here for more amazing content. But let's dive right into the first one. So the first mistake to avoid is spammy keyword stuffing. Okay, so this is a big one, guys. This is a very big one. You want to make sure that you are not spamming and stuffing your keywords. Okay, now that sounds pretty funny and depends who you are. It might sound a little weird. So so let's break that down. What the heck does that mean, right? Because I'm sure people are like, what?
Keyword stuffing. What are we stuffing? A turkey?
Yeah. So holidays up in here.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, keyword stuffing is actually a practice that was very common, believe it or not, once upon a time. Way back when, before all these Google updates came about, and essentially, it worked, right? The truth of the matter is it worked, right? And we're talking about maybe 2011, 2010, even 2007. Like we're talking way back, right? These are the tactics that work. And so essentially what it means is that people would literally stuff their keywords into every area that possible on your website. So every single key area that Google gives you an opportunity to put some keywords in, you would stuff it. And what an example of a stuff is like roof repair company that fixes roofs and repairs commercial and residential roofing company. Like you just say the word roofing and roofs and you just stuff it like 10 times in one sentence. You're like, that's not even English. Like that's not even who speaks like that. Like what are you even saying? So it didn't read well at all, but the effects that it had on your rankings was a pretty big deal. So
It was phenomenal back then.
yeah.
Like if you stuff everything, like as many keywords as possible into a sentence, right? And a lot of people also did spinning back then, where they spun the text, but it still sounded weird when you read it, but
Yeah.
it ranked.
It ranked, yeah, and unfortunately, some of the practices are still being done today, right? And that's why we want to make sure that this is a mistake that you don't do. So again, on-page SEO, just to clarify, we're talking about stuff that happens on your website, right? That's a definition of on-page SEO, right? There's other aspects of SEO, but there's one key part which is on-page, which is what we're talking about. So this is what we mean, like when we say stuffing your keywords, we're talking about on your website, right? Because there's ways that you can stuff stuff outside of your website, but that's a whole nother subject, right? But yeah, so it worked once upon a time, still being done today, which is very unfortunate because Google is way more advanced than it was, 10, 20 years ago. And now they immediately catch on to that kind of stuff. They are immediately like, it's just there's a whole updates called the penguin update, the panda update. You guys, it sounds like what are these animals that you're talking about? I don't name these. Google names these. This is what they call them. But you can look them up, and those are every update is tackled all of those issues. So nowadays, it's a whole different landscape, right? It's a whole different landscape, and if you don't stay with the times, then you're gonna still be doing stuff that doesn't work, and you're gonna be wondering why am I not getting results, right? And even worse, you're paying someone that's quote unquote an expert, saying that they know what they're doing, and then they're doing things that are outdated that don't no longer work. So no matter which way you flip it, like you don't want to you want to make sure you're not spamming and doing things that don't no longer work, which is stuffing keywords. That is the one we're talking about.
I have a question. What about, Frankie, people that still stuff? They may not do keyword stuffing like you said, but they might put it they may create like 10 paragraphs, right? And every paragraph has a different keyword, right? So every paragraph says, for example, one would say roof repair in XYZ city and zip code, right? And then another paragraph will say, residential roofing service. On the same page, they're trying to rank for all of these possible keywords, right? Is that also considered spammy keyword stuffing?
That's actually that's interesting. It's a great point. So in that case, it wouldn't be, and we're actually going to talk a little bit more about this in the next one. But the when I say spammy keyword stuffing, what I'm referring to is like in one sentence in the key areas, right? So there's actually 5 major key areas that you need to be having your keywords in on every website, and actually that's the whole episode that we're talking about that.
Yeah, so let's
That
not get into that today,
but
but
but my
you got,
point is, in those areas, that's where you want to not be spamming, right? That's where you don't want to just shove a bunch of different stuff in there, because then now you're confusing Google. But you could put it in your body content. You can sprinkle additional keywords in there as long as you're not spamming and stuffing it. Like you know what I mean? Like it doesn't read like English. It doesn't
it
read,
has to read, it has to read well.
right. Like it reads like a robot. Like you know what I mean? Like if it's like a robot, then you got problems. You got problems. Yeah. But yeah, great question. So yeah, so just avoid it, guys. I mean, just keep it natural, keep it organic. Like, the best thing you can do is just incorporate 1 or 2 keywords in there, and that's it. You don't have to overdo it. Google's not, Google's smart. It understands. So you don't need to, do too much like that anymore. So I think that covers the number one. Unless there's anything else you want to add in there.
Nah, man, that's it. That was my only question for that one.
No,
That
great
was it.
question. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's move on to number 2, which is a great segue, which is targeting more than one main keyword per page, right? Which is, similar. It's not the exact question, but it's a
Okay.
great topic because it is a good segue. So again, we're talking about on-page SEO, stuff that happens on the website. So one of the common things you might want to do is, hey, I want to put all my keywords on this page. I want to make sure I show up for everything. I'm going to make this a super page. This is going to be the best page ever. I'm going to cover everything. Every single keyword, hundreds of keywords are going to be on this page, and I'm going to rank for everything. Okay, that's what maybe you may be thinking, or maybe you have someone, an SEO guy, telling you, "Hey, man, this is the approach right here. This is how we get it done." Okay, if you hear any of that, you got to run. Okay, because that is not the approach, guys. That is a huge on-page SEO mistake. Okay, and the reason why, because you're literally like you're just packing all into one page, so Google doesn't know what to rank you for. And you might think, oh yeah, like I can rank for all of this stuff, right? So you might think that this is helping you, and that one page is going to rank you everywhere. But the thing is, it might rank you if there's no other competitors. But if a competitor comes in and they have more authoritative content, they have more detailed content, they have better, backlinks and all these other things that go into it, and they're covering a subject more thoroughly than you are, they're gonna outbeat you. Okay, they're gonna outrank you. And the reason why is because you're talking about so many things on this page, and you're not being the ultimate guide on this one subject, right? You're not totally fleshing out this subject to all the details that it can go, because everything can be essentially broken down in many different ways. So if you're just covering everything, then yeah, sure, you're like a nice option for Google, but Google wants to give the user the absolute best results. So if someone's asking a certain question, or they want to learn about a specific thing like metal roofing in their city, and yeah, maybe you cover it briefly on that one magical super page you got, but then you got someone over here that has a whole dedicated page just to metal roofing, covering all kinds of metals, covering all kinds of roofs, covering all kinds of prices and materials and durability and timelines. Now, all of a sudden, Google's like, okay, this is a way better result for this keyword, metal roofing, than this one that's covering a million things. And the user is going to have a bad experience because they're looking for metal roofing. They're not looking for the ultimate guide. They're not looking for 5 million roofing topics. They want this specific keyword. So you don't want to just shove everything into one page, similar to what we were saying earlier with the stuffing. Like Google is much more advanced, that may have worked once upon a time, but don't get caught with that nowadays. Yeah, look, it's more work, guys. SEO is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. And this is part of what you pay a good SEO agency for, because you have to create dedicated pages per services, per locations. You have to give every, all that content the attention it needs, the quality it needs, the thoroughness, the research. It's work, right? But my point is, like, that's how it works nowadays, guys. You want to have dedicated pages for everything.
So it's a mistake not to have pages dedicated. So in other words, if you're trying to stuff, we're back to stuffing in a sense. If you're trying to rank one page for everything, that's a mistake.
Right.
And that's why people target more than one main keyword per page, because they're trying to see, they don't know which one's going to rank, so they're trying to put a whole bunch on the
Right.
page to see which one it will rank for. It's better to do the dedicated page approach per
Right.
keyword.
Yeah, just one
So
keyword per page. Like if you have more, if you're targeting more than one keyword per page, then that's a mistake, right? Like you gotta
okay,
you gotta change that.
so then that means if there's 100 keywords, my site needs to have 100 pages then,
If yeah,
dedicated
yeah,
pages.
yeah. If you want the ultimate chance to rank, yes. Now, could you rank with one page for multiple keywords? Of course you can, but you'll rank until somebody comes in and does the additional work that you didn't want to do, and now they're gonna outrank you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want the ultimate chance to dominate, you're gonna have to put in the work. You have to put in the content, the pages, the images. All the thoroughness that goes into it. But in some cities, some counties, some areas, that may not be necessary because no one's really gone to that effort. So you may have a higher chance of ranking with one page for more stuff until someone comes in, right? So it depends how you want to look at it. We like to just be very thorough. We like to make sure we just dominate, and we don't want to leave every stone, no stone left unturned. Basically, make sure they can get the best results for what they're investing in, right? So absolutely.
That's powerful. So you heard it here, roofers. Make sure you go to your website right now, take a look at it, and see how many pages you have. If you want to rank for 100 keywords, find out if you have 100 pages on your site. Because most people's sites, if you go to your website right now, if it only has 5 or 6 or 7, less than 10 pages, you're possibly only ranking, possibly, I'm saying possibly, only ranking for 2 or 3 keywords. And your business probably does more keywords than that, right? You probably want to be found for more services, not just 3, 4, 5, right? Most roofing companies offer, if you're offering commercial and residential, there's at least 50 keywords for residential and 50
Mm-hmm.
specific keywords for commercial. So that's easy, 100 keywords. So you need to see how many pages does your site have. And if you had an SEO person build it, then you
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 should be
want
looking
to
for that. Yeah.
you should be looking for that, right? It's a
Yeah.
mistake to only have a site that only has, just a couple of pages.
Right, right. And one last thing I wanted to mention on that is you could have like 100 pages, but if those pages are not good quality, like if they're like maybe two sentences on those pages, and you think that that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about quality pages that have a lot of content that provide a good user experience, to have images, maybe some videos. Like you can't just put up crap either. It's got to be quality, right? So I've seen people do that too. They do the mass page thing where they just like want to spam out a whole bunch of keywords and places. But if each
Hmm.
page is not quality, then again, we're back to the same issue. Like, Google is not dumb, right? Google understands what's good quality and what's not. And think about the user experience, because that's ultimately what Google cares about, because it's their product, right? Like, because we're talking about Google has the lion's share of the search traffic. So they need to provide a good result. So if you have a crappy page with two sentences on it, and that's the only thing that Google puts on, that might not solve what the client wants, so they're going to back out and they're going to go look for something else. And now Google's providing a bad result. It's hurting them, hurting the experience, hurting everybody. So quality. So it is quantity for sure. Make sure you're targeting specifically, but make sure it's quality on that as well, which again, stuff you need to look for if you got an SEO, or if you're doing this yourself. Like, keep these things in mind.
So I like that you said a quality that Google's in the business of providing a quality user experience. So if you're putting out crappy content, right, to try
Yes,
to rank, it's going to be hard for you to rank. Let me ask you this, Frank, before we move on to point number 3.
of course.
What if somebody is creating similar content but just changing the keywords? You get what I'm saying? Like it's probably the same article or the same post, but the keywords are a little different. would you get penalized for that?
Great question. Great question. So here's a good little hack here, or at least like a good resource for everyone that's listening. Make sure you jot this down. There's a website called copyscape.com, okay, or maybe
Mm,
copyscape.net. I don't recall. Let me see. Let me just double check. That's .com. Yeah, copyscape.com. We use it all every day when we do content for our clients. But essentially, you go in there. This is the
mm,
same website that college professors are using. The same
mm,
website that big brands and agencies all over the world are using. And essentially, what it does is it has the ability to scan the entire web to find out, if what that piece of content, that URL or the text that you paste in there, if it's been used somewhere else, if it has any type of correlation with another website or another post or whatever, anywhere on the web. So that's called online plagiarism, right? So the word is plagiarism. So if there is people that take content from other people's websites and they do change the keyword, and some of them actually do rank, right? I've seen
right.
it happen. So I'm not saying it doesn't work at all, but what I will say is this: like, what you want to do is you want to run it through Copyscape, and if you see results show up on there, then you want to that's how you know if it's plagiarized, basically, right? So you can see if someone else plagiarized your content as well. But the reason I say you want to do this test is because you want to have unique content. That's the ultimate standard, right? And kind of what I was saying earlier, like we want to be ahead of the curve, right? We don't want to wait till the next Google update comes in. We had the panda, then we're gonna have the zebra, we're gonna have the giraffe update. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So so
I like that.
instead of us waiting for these updates to then penalize us, how about we get ahead of the curve and we just make sure we never put our clients in jeopardy. So the way of doing that, I personally, and for all of our clients, we do this 100% unique content that passes Copyscape. That means that it's not plagiarized. That means it's 100% original, and that has the highest and most effective chance of ranking. So my point is, you can still rank with duplicate content. You can do what you just described, Esteban, but if you want to future proof your site, okay, which I highly advise you to future proof your site, it's pretty much, you're ensuring your site doesn't get hurt in the future, because Google's on to plagiarism and knows that, right? They're not dumb. If Copyscape can catch it, imagine Google, right? So even if they haven't done anything about it now, or even if they're like, they will probably in the future. And if you put two sites side by side, one with plagiarized content, one with unique content, I've seen the unique content perform better. Even though the other one will still rank, the unique content will perform better. So the answer is yes, you can. But my answer, what I recommend is get unique content. Use Copyscape as a tool to find out that, because maybe your SEO is telling you, oh yeah, this is the best content. We just got somebody written, and I've seen this happen. And you know what they do? They have 10 clients, and they all post the same blog post on all 10 clients. They post the same copy, the same writing, and they're like,
That's
oh yeah, we
crazy.
wrote this ourselves. Yeah, oh yeah. And
Yes.
the client doesn't know. They're like, okay, it reads well, but you didn't run it through Copyscape. You didn't do any tests, and all of a sudden they're just copying and pasting, and then they're building you. You know what I mean? So yeah, so just watch out for these things. We're looking out for you guys. That's why we're doing this show.
So what about spinning practices? A lot of people take the article and they spin it,
I
right?
love that. I love that.
Let's
Yeah,
let's 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 cover
great
it, but
topic.
bro,
Great
we're gonna
topic,
deliver
guys. This
as
is big,
as
big stuff. Yeah,
yes,
it's
it
big stuff.
is. Yes, it is.
So here we go. So you ready? So spin. So okay, what is spinning? Because I know for a fact people are like, "What the heck?" So really quickly, spinning is just a way that you can rewrite a sentence and do it in a way where every time that you quote unquote spin it, it comes out unique. It's said in a different way, but it means the exact same thing.
Right.
So when you do that, you can do that on a sentence level. You can do that on a paragraph level. You can do it on a word level. And we can have a whole subject on this, like a whole top, episode on it. But basically, if you spin it really well, you can make it where the same article, every time you spin it, it 100% passes Copyscape. That is
Really?
100% doable, and we've actually seen it done. So to answer your question, believe it or not, spinning actually still is being done today, and it still works. It still works. It still can be done. However, you mentioned it earlier. It doesn't always read right. It doesn't read properly
Does it?
because
That is true.
it reads kind of like strange, because it takes words and it takes them out of context, and it's just it's tricky. It's a very tricky. However, there is a way to spin it right, manually. It has to be a manual spun, not one of those tools, because there's tools that you can run it through and they'll spin it for you and blah blah blah. If you do it manually, it might take you a couple days to do a really good article manually. However, now that article can be used probably 1,000 times. So again, look, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, because I know some people are like, "What the heck are you?" What? So the answer is it's possible. I honestly, it's a lot of work, and I don't even like highly even recommend it, to be honest. Just get unique content, guys. Just get it written, get it done. You want to close deals, you want to get leads, you want to get more business, you want to grow your brand, right? Like I suggest just get the content created and then focus on growing your business. I don't think it's necessary at all.
Thank you, Frankie. I think we're ready for point number 3.
Definitely. All right, here we go. Okay, so point number 3 here is gonna be naming conventions for key pages.
Ooh,
Okay.
what does that mean?
Yeah, so that's a tricky one, right? So yeah, so basically naming conventions, essentially is how are you naming your pages, especially the most important pages. Like, how are you structuring those pages? How are you, like, for example, your URL, right? Some people have like their website and then it's like slash the city, or like slash the service slash the county. Like, it's just like, how are you structuring your site, right? The structure of the site, the way that you plan out the site, the way you map out the site, all these things are part of the on-page SEO, right? These are all part of the things that happen on the website. So you need to make sure you have a proper structure in place and a proper naming convention. Like, make sure that you're naming things accordingly in the website. So for example, a common mistake I see all the time, and it's unbelievable, even celebrities, okay, talking about like giant celebrities like Justin Bieber level celebrities, if you go to their websites, it's unbelievable. Sometimes the name of the title of the website says home, right? Like, just the word home. And like, maybe in the celebrity sense, maybe they don't really care about ranking. But if you're a business owner and you want to get more traffic from organic search engines, you need to make sure that your name of your website is not home. Okay. That's not gonna, you're not gonna rank for home, guys. And even, why would you want to, if you even could, right? Like, you want to rank for your keywords, right? Roofing, roof repair, roof company, and insert X city, Y city.
Exactly.
Yeah, so be careful. So that's a big mistake, naming convention, having just not putting any attention on it, basically.
So do this right now if you're listening. Go to your website and go to your home page.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they see their naming convention, Frankie?
Yeah, it's a great question. So here's the best thing you can do, right? And you can try it out, Stefan, as well. Like, go to a website, go to any website, Chrome, Edge, it doesn't matter what you're using, whatever browser. Make sure you're on the computer. Don't use a phone for this. Use your computer. And when you get on that page, hover over the tab. Just hover over the tab with your mouse, whatever website it is.
This is what I'm going to type. I'm going to type roofing company near me, right?
Okay, let's go.
And then I'm just going to go to just go to any website in
Go to
the
any
organic.
website. Yeah, that's an actual
search.
business, not a home advisor, like an actual business.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, this one seems like an actual business. Okay. It says Chase. I'm not going to say the name. Okay, I'm just going to click on it. Click on it. Okay. All right, I'm on the page. It looks like a real business.
Nice.
And it is targeting a keyword.
Okay.
So what do I do? Where do I go?
So now, go to the tab at the very top, right? Because you're on a browser, and then hover your mouse over it, and you're gonna see something pop up.
Okay, and it doesn't say home. This is they're doing the right thing, and they're on page. They're definitely on page 1.
And they're on page 1. And that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why, right?
And then if I let's go to page 2. Let's see what's going on page 2. Let's see if I find one of these examples.
Yeah, so everybody at home, do it. You can be doing this as well.
Here's another company. Okay, it seems like a real company. I'm hovering over the thing here. Let's see. Okay, they're targeting the keyword roof repair near me. You can see that. That's definitely what they put. That's it.
So they're out there. They're out there. Regardless, like the point is, like, it happens a lot more than you think, and I highly advise everybody here to check that, because that's one very simple, quick, easy, low hanging fruit That if you do that, automatically Google is like, oh, okay, your site's about this. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
about home. Okay, thanks for letting me know that it's not about home. So just that alone is gonna help you, right? And again, it's very common mistake.
So the way to find out what you have is just go to the tab, and then just put your cursor there, and then it will tell you what it is, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah. There's more
Yeah.
intricate, sophisticated ways to do it, and maybe we could include some resources in the description. There's like Chrome extensions that you can download and stuff like that. That'll help. But
No,
the
but this,
easiest is just hover over it. Yeah.
yeah, this is pretty easy, and they can see. Yeah, and
Yeah.
listen, I'm telling you, we live I live in a city that's in Fort Lauderdale, right? So everything I'm checking right now seems to have their naming convention right.
Nice.
I haven't found one. Yeah, that says home yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, there you go. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So, like, who usually doesn't have this set up right? The people running ads. The people running ads because they could care
Oh
less.
yeah.
They could care less because they're
Gotcha.
just running ads. So they're gonna come from the ad. They're not coming because of their naming convention. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
regardless, just I for sure there's probably someone listening that is gonna have it. It's gonna say home, unfortunately. Or it might just be empty, or it might say John Doe. It might say your name. Like, just make
Yeah.
sure it has something relevant, something that makes sense, something that that's gonna help you rank whatever you want to target.
You know what's interesting? As I'm doing this research right now, I'm just
Hmm.
clicking on roofing companies, right?
Hmm.
I did notice that a lot of them are out of state for some reason,
Mm.
which is interesting. It's like, why would somebody out of state want to rank in in a search where I put near me? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's just
Yeah.
interesting. So
That is.
they're targeting keywords outside of probably an area that they service. So you want to be specific, especially if you
Mhm.
serve a local area on your naming conventions. You want to make sure at least that you put the city that you serve, right, Frankie?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 But specifically the home one, like on the home page, because typically most websites, their home page is going to be the most powerful page on the entire site, just because it's the one
Hmm.
that you always give to everybody and yada yada yada. So that's the one where I see it the worst, right? And that's the one that hurts you the worst. So at the very least, do your home page. Like, yes, you want to make sure every single page has it, but at least do your homepage. You know what I mean? At least, guys, like that's gonna just alone give you a boost for sure.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel bad for all these people that I'm finding. I put near me, and I'm getting, North Carolina, Georgia, and I'm like, great, and in reality, if I live in Florida, I'm not gonna want to do business with a company that's out of state, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
So
Yeah, that's true.
so find out where your page. Look, all you have to put is type roofing company near me, and find out what if you're being found or not for the keyword in your city. So
Yeah,
yeah.
the near me it's like where that really is super important is in the maps. The maps is really like where it's critical for the near me stuff because like
Yeah.
people are maps is location based, right? So here's the thing about the what you were
Mm.
saying about the near me. You can have a website that's nowhere near where you're located, but if they're
Mhm.
targeting the word near me, like roof repair near me or roofing near me, like
Mhm.
they could essentially rank for that word, but they're not going to be local. But the local solutions are going to be in the maps. Those
Mhm.
those should be local. Those should be. But regardless, we like to target in specific cities, specific locations. So
Right.
near me is a strategy. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's very different than what we discussed earlier of having dedicated pages and stuff like that. So just
Right.
just be
Right.
aware of that, right? Like just because it's a different approach, different strategy. So just something to keep in mind.
Cool. Thank you, Frankie.
Absolutely, man. Cool. Well, yeah, that was the third one. So that was our on-page SEO mistakes that every roofing company should avoid.
So let's recap it real quick, right? So
Yeah,
the
of course.
first thing we spoke about today was spammy keyword stuffing. So we
Hmm.
went over that. The second mistake you want to avoid, right? So that's the first one. The second one you want to avoid is not targeting one main keyword per page, right? And the
Mhm.
third mistake is naming conventions for key pages. Like you really want to make sure, especially like the homepage,
For
that
sure.
you have the proper naming convention for your homepage. So, Frankie, we went over three important mistakes that roofing companies, roofing contractors that are seeking to grow their business through digital marketing, they need to avoid, specifically when it comes to search engine optimization. You want to make sure that you're optimized for search so that when people look for your business, they can find you. So if you've gotten a ton of value from today's message, please make sure you visit the link inside the description wherever you're consuming this content. If you're on video and you're catching us on videos, we really appreciate you. If you're catching us on just the podcast, just the audio version, just go to the description. There should be a link. And then we have some free stuff for you there. So we have a complete guide that you can literally follow. You can put your assistant on it, or you could do it yourself. That will definitely help you optimize your site so that you get found easier when it comes to when it comes to SEO, right? Frankie, before we close this episode, man, is there anything you want to say?
Well, I mean, it's been awesome sharing this with you guys. And, again, on page SEO is 1/3 of the entire SEO equation. That means it's 33% of the whole thing, guys. So it's very important that you give it the dedicated time it deserves. But also keep in mind that it's not the be all end all. There is additional things involved, and we are going to cover them on the show. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're paying, subscribe, and you can stay tuned for those episodes as well. But don't sleep on-page SEO. The stuff that happens on your site is critical to your success online with search, guys. So yeah, hopefully you got some value, and we'll definitely see you in the next ones here.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you, Frankie. This was great.
Awesome. Talk soon, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.